Shout out to everybody. Your boy is back. I do want to say this though, right? Yeah, I got to get back to video games and all that, but I do want to talk about a Nightmare on Elm Street film collection. It's a lot of movies in here, gang. It's a lot of I didn't get the Steelbook, and the reason why, and I know a lot of y'all like Steelbook lovers, I didn't get the Steelbook because I don't have anywhere to put it. You know what I mean? And then it's like the price. It's like almost $400 after taxes. I'm like, I'm not paying that for a Steelbook. Like, that's crazy. Y'all can do that if that's something that y'all like. Give me the movies. I'm fine. Because all I'm going to do is take the movies out of here and put them like in a, a sleeve or something like that with all the rest of my movies. But as far as, so it comes with a lot of movies, man. Even 3D glasses from one of the movies. It's got Nightmare on Elm Street, Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. It's got Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors, Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master, Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child. That's like 89 minutes long. And it's got Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare. It's got Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Now, I watched all of these movies. You know what I mean? So that's why y'all kind of like, where's Late Night Talk? He kind of on fire. He's putting the pressure on Haterade. Where is he at? Like when I get movies, I don't just like to buy them and talk about. I like to watch them. You know what I mean? Like we all have theaters. We want to see what these movies look like. We want to hear them. You love your system. You want to play it. You know what I'm saying? There's movies that you buy. It is what it is. So I ended up watching all of them. Other than I think it was A New Nightmare. The last one I watched maybe 25% of it just to see what it looked like. I will say this. 1 through 3 was okay, right? Wasn't the best looking 4Ks ever. You got to understand, like back then, the technology that they used to film, it's very hard to extract a lot of information, with New Line Cinema, how they did back in the day. Like, this is not using like a 70 millimeter, 2001, right? Or, they didn't take the care and filming this like they did the original Terminator, so it's only so much information that could be extracted from like the first 3 movies, I would say. As far as the Atmos in the first 3 movies, it was okay. Like the Atmos, like the heights were used very sparingly in all of them, all of the first 3. When you get to the 4th, moving forward, that's where you see an appreciable difference in the 4K, right? And it starts to separate itself from the first 3, and it gets better, like as it gets, to the earlier or the more modern versions of A Nightmare on Elm Street. And then you start getting more atmospherics because there's so much more sound to play with, right? So that, as movies go along, people start to try to make them a little bit more interesting, add in more sound effects, stuff like that. And I feel like 4, moving forward, you get a lot more ambient noise and stuff like that, like throughout the speakers. It's not like the tonality of the sounds doesn't have a lot of body or depth to it. It's kind of light, but you also got to attribute that to the type of equipment that they use like early on, you know what I mean? So they did as much as they could with the Atmos, with what they had. As far as would I buy this again? Yes. You know what I mean? Like, I am a Nightmare on Elm Street fan, and it's really weird. Like, I haven't watched these movies since the 90s, I think, right? And the human mind is like really crazy, like with what it stores in its hippocampus, its memory bank or whatever. When I watch these, like it's like I'm mouthing the words like I've seen these before, which obviously I've seen them before, but like I know like some parts like word for word, which is really crazy. Reminds me that I used to watch these movies all the time. Now, new people that don't like film grain, stuff like that, I think you would still like the movie. It's a light layer of grain throughout like most of the movies. As far as the film grain, it's very well managed and very well controlled. I don't understand y'all. I don't like film grain people. Y'all are like weird to me. I'm sorry, Thug Life. Y'all a little weird to me. And the reason I'm saying that because I've got a Blackmagic 6K Pro camera, and sometimes, like very rarely, depends on what I got to do on my other YouTube channel. Color grade, do all of that. Sometimes you have to add a layer of film grain after the production is done. You want to add that over it so that you don't get banding on the screen if it's on a big screen. You know, have y'all ever seen videos or movies, even like something like super popular, right? And you will get like, it's almost like somebody took like a very light cloth and like kind of washed over it. You know, very faint. That's like a banding issue. And the way to get rid of that is to add a layer of film grain. And that's why even when films are like done digitally, they add film grain to make sure that's not happening. You know, so as far as film grain, you're not going to hear me on this channel say I don't like film grain. I have no problem with it. If your TV is good enough or your projector is good enough, like you're gonna get a good image, you know what I mean? And this thing, I think it utilizes HDR. I don't think any of them are really Dolby Vision, if I'm not mistaken. I think they all are HDR. Yeah, HDR. Yeah, high dynamic range HDR. I don't think any of them are Dolby Vision, but they look decent. Like there are parts. I think it's like in the fourth one, if I'm not mistaken. Kincaid, right? In the beginning of the movie, he's like, I'm not gonna ruin all of it, but he's like in a dream and he's at a junkyard and he kind of like jumps off of a car. If you watch this on like a VHS tape, you know what I mean? The movie, you kind of can't really tell where he is, like, you know, before he jumps. But then on this, like, you can clearly see him, you know what I mean? And you can see the definition around him and things going on. So I see, to me personally, I think it's worth buying, you know, because you're going to get more detail. A couple other things, like when he was at the junkyard, the lighting that was coming through the cars, right? Not just like the headlights, but like the light passing from through the cars is kind of, you know, the illumination of it was HDR. Like it looked pretty good, you know? So I will say, don't expect for your socks to be knocked off with this one. You know, just expect it's just like an older movie that's been redone a little bit better to make it a little bit up to snuff on what we have now, you know. But I think they did a really good job. And, you know, I watch Arrow video movies, and to me, sometimes I feel like they do a little bit too much with restorations to where the movie can look a little bit too sharp, or you can, you know, they may not be able to manage the grain correctly and you get a lot of swirling and stuff like that. You don't get any of this with this movie. I think it was like maybe it's like Nightmare on Elm Street 5 or something like that. It was like one little issue that I saw, but it was just real quick. But other than that, like the whole, for them to do all of, first of all, they're giving you mad movies, like a lot of movies for the price of this, right? 4K restoration, all of that with Dolby Atmos, 7 films is crazy, you know? So I think it's worth it for that. And like, cause I would say, you know, each film maybe can go for like $18. I think they did a decent enough job to where you could pay that, you know. So it could be a little savings depending on how you look at it. I liked it, you know. Am I gonna go back to these? I mean, it's October. Your boy's gonna watch some Halloween stuff, you know what I mean? So, and scary movies mixed in it. I think, you know, every year maybe I'll go back to it, and you know, as equipment gets better and better and better, you're probably going to eventually, you know, cut this back on just to see how it looks on different equipment, depending on what you get over the years. But I like it. I like it. I don't think the price was egregious for this set. And I hear a lot of people talking like, oh, well, $96 is a lot of money. It depends on your budget. You know what I mean? What you got going on in your life. I get it. You know what I mean? I don't want to pay more than $20 for a movie, to be real. But for this many movies, I'm not mad. This is not sponsored. You know what I mean? I'm not a hater. I don't be doing stuff like that. I'm just saying. I'm not saying he does. I don't know. I don't want to get sued. But it's not sponsored or nothing. You know, I bought this with my own money, and I would recommend it, but I wouldn't expect a whole lot, right? Just get it because of the franchise, you know, and just appreciate what you get. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. Y'all tell me what y'all think down in the comment section below. On a scale from 1 to 10, with the first movie, I would probably give it maybe a 5. You know what I mean? With audio quality, visuals, I'll probably give it maybe a 7. The second one, I would probably give the Atmos maybe another 7. And maybe a 6.5. You know what I mean? And the movie with the second one, I'll probably give it probably a 6.5, visuals. The third movie, I mean, it's the same. Fourth movie, I would move the audio. I probably give the audio a 7.5, and the fourth one, and the colors, the definition a little bit better in the fourth one. I probably move it up to maybe a 7.8. You know what I mean? With visuals for what they could do. The fifth one, I would probably. I mean, I think they're all kind of the same, like moving forward. You know what I mean? It's small incremental upgrades as the movie gets a little bit more modern, but overall, it's just okay. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. Equipment wise, I didn't watch this on my MRX 1140 Anthem. I watched this on my Anthem AVM 90. All of them, and then I watched them on a LG OLED TV, and I mean, they looked okay. You know what I mean? I had a pretty good time watching them. You know what I mean? I just binge watched all of them. But y'all tell me what y'all think down in the comment section below. Comment, rate, subscribe. Let me know what y'all think about that. Peace.